Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our awesome guest expert session today with the beautiful Keely Carla. Hi, Keels.
Hi, Carla. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. So today's session is going to be very much real time, real talk between the two of us. So Keely and I met each other quite a few years ago now, when we were both at that stage where we were talking about wanting to feel better with our health and I guess shift from that dieting mindset. So I'm going to let you, Keely, share a bit more about your story in just a moment. But why I wanted to bring Keely on and share her with you all today is because, throughout the Think Feel You program, so much of what we talk about today is going to enhance the information that's already in your back end area. So Keely is like the PFC queen. She's going to roll her eyes at me when I say that, but she absolutely knows the ins and outs of the science behind that program, and that way of life and the way of eating. So everything that Keely stands for is so complementary of what we speak about within this program. And so I figure, January is always that time of year where people start to think about getting back on track with their health. And, we often say it's not about whether you fall off track with your eating and the way that you're looking after yourself, but what's important is how you get back on track. So neither Keely or I are about dieting. We've shifted away from that mindset. And so as we come into this new year and you start to approach your health goals, we thought this would be a really great session as mums, everyday women and women that run busy lives, to just have a genuine conversation around this topic. So we sort of wanted to really bring the vibe of that battle between embracing body positivity and, loving the skin that you're in, whilst also wanting to honor your health and feel good from an energetic, internal perspective. So I just want to say a huge thank you already to Keely. I hope you all love this session. It's going to be fabulous because she just totally is. And I am going to ask, I'm just going to make Keely post for a moment. But I also want to, kick off this session, Keels, by handing it over to you so that you can share a bit about your story and how you've ended up doing what you're doing, because I think it's through sharing our own story that women start to relate and really connect. So tell me, my love, how did you end up doing what you're doing?
Oh, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm really excited to be here because I love everything about the Think Feel You program. I love everything about you. You're very authentic and honest and keeping it real, which is why we're friends, because I gravitate towards you. So thanks so much for having me. And I guess my story really is like a lot of other women who I just want to really connect with and share stories, which is what you do. And I'm nothing special. I'm not, I'm kind of not trying to aspire to be something that people want to be like. I just am the same as every other kind of mum. I've got 3 kids. I've been married for 10 years. My kids are now 6, 8 and 10. And I had them really close together. And I've just been a bit of a yo-yo dieter prior to having kids, always thinking that if I lose 5 kilos, my life will be amazing. That feeling in your mind that like, if I lost weight, everything would be better. And, the funniest thing is that, at times if you've done that or done a crash diet and you've managed to do that, then you've actually realized that it doesn't, if that's just your goal of just wanting to be thinner or wanting to be a certain way, it's not really enough to make you happy. And I think that's where I've really just grown over, I'm 37 now and becoming a mum, and all your priorities change and this, that and the other. So I had a real yo-yo dieting kind of mindset, throughout my 20s. And I wasn't really happy with myself ever, very self-critical of my body image, even though, you know, like I've never been really overweight or anything like that. It was just always just never enough. And I'm not sure where that came from. But so what I actually did was, my background is as a health and physical education teacher. And then I have gone into having my kids really close together. And so just everything changes as well, when you have children or you have a big lifestyle change like that. And so after I had my third child, I obviously was just feeling extremely tired, fatigued. Nothing about myself really mattered. It was just all about keeping the kids alive and keeping them very well, fed and watered and looked after. But I got to this point where I was like, I feel shocking. I am waking up exhausted. Like my husband would have to get me out of bed so that he could go to work. And I just knew that I couldn't, keep living like that. I'd never eat breakfast, just live off coffee. Then by 11 a.m. I was ravenous, just that kind of lifestyle. And I wasn't unhappy because I just probably knew that was a phase or a chapter, but I just needed to do something about it. My personality is that I just want to feel good. Everything that mattered before kids kind of didn't matter then, as to why I wanted to feel good. It was more just about having enough energy and feeling great, to get into the day and to play with them and stuff. So I actually listened to a nutritionist called Mark McDonald. He was out in Australia touring around, and I went and listened to him, and I thought, oh, here we go. What's the latest fad? Like, what's the latest scientific diet that everyone's talking about? I thought I'll go and have a listen. And for some reason, at that point in my life, when I just really wanted to make a change, and I'll touch on this in a minute, but everything that he said just made complete sense to me, because the first thing I had to know was, like, can I actually do this? Because I've done a million diets in the past and I just fall off the wagon. Like, is this realistic, practical? Can I do it with 3 little kids? Can my kids eat the same way? Because I'm not doing some out there kind of thing, making 100 different kinds of meals for different people. We all know what it's like with kids anyway. Often you're already making something different because they're fussy. And is it like scientifically proven and makes sense? I didn't want to do something gimmicky. So I listened to him and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a go. This makes absolute sense. And that is really the PFC every 3, which I'll go into in a moment. So it was just, I'd like to kind of, make a point that everyone sees diets, and January is a big month for, weight loss and this and that, and it might be feeling a bit sick after having, or bloated after having too many cheese platters over the summer or whatever it is. But it's like there has to be a moment in your life if you want to make a change, and you have to know why. And I know that you can relate to that. It has to be, no one can convince you of anything. No one can tell you what to do. There has to be just this moment where you're like, I want to make a change. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
100%. And I think this is where you and I have connected so well on this whole topic, because it's so much more like, once you've had kids, and you said as a part of your story, like, you slipped essentially down on your list of priorities because you were in mum mode and giving to everyone first. And so your why in this chapter of our life is different than what it was when we were in our 20s or whatever it was. And, and that's going to continue to change and evolve as we go through life. But like you and I in that training together, there was that line of, make today the day you draw your line in the sand and commit to a better way. And it stuck with me because it's moving away from that dieting, quick 5 kilos mentality, and like really shifting your mindset into understanding why you want to do that, what you're actually going to feel like as a result of putting in that work, and the whole purpose behind it. So yeah, fully agree.
And I think that then leads into one of the biggest, like I actually had a conversation with Mark McDonald, who, he is like a world-renowned nutritionist. He's a lot of celebrities, their personal nutritionist, and he goes on all the shows, and he's a very successful person. But I actually had a conversation with him afterwards, and he just said, he goes, you have to really think about what chapter you're in. So what is your health chapter right now? So your health chapter, and if a lot of the women listening to this, it's not trying to be the same size as you were at your wedding. It's not trying to be what you were in high school. It's not the past. Your health chapter is nothing to do with the past. It doesn't matter what's happened in the past, how many diets you've done, what you've, been like, how you felt about your body, this, that, the other. It's what is your chapter now? So I would get everyone really to have a think about right now, where am I at in my life? And you have to reassess this because things do change and your health just goes up and down. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're motivated, whether you are, love exercise, you eat clean, whatever it is, everything goes up and down in life. There's a lot of things that you can't control. So you can't just say, this is what I'm doing and I'm going to maintain this level of excellence forever. It is like, how do you maintain and go up and down a little bit with the chapter that you're at? So if you think about it now, and I made some notes on this to kind of relate to the kind of people, but for myself, I'm 37, I've got 3 kids. My kids want me doing everything with them. We're on a summer holiday right now. They want me swimming. They want me jumping off the jetty. They want me surfing, boogie boarding, body surfing. They don't want me to go to the beach and sit back on the towel and while their father and them go out swimming because I don't like my body. They don't care about that. They just love me. They want me to do things. They are begging me. And so when I do it with them, it just brings huge amount of joy. And for me, that's the chapter I'm in right now. So I need to have a body that has energy, that has physically can do things with them. Obviously mobility wise, not in pain, all those. Like I need to be fit enough to do stuff with my little kids because kids require a lot of energy. And the kind of activities we like to do are very outdoorsy. So for me, my chapter is right now, a lot of it is about what can I do with my kids? And that's not holding me back because I don't like my body or I'm unhappy with my body or my body won't serve me to do it. And so I guess if you look at that for other people that might relate to them, there could be grandparents on here, women who are like, I need to be able to have energy to look after my grandkid once or twice a week or whatever, because there's a lot of grandparents who do that. They're the new babysitters. So that requires you to be mobile and have enough energy. There's a lot of shift workers. I've worked and I've got a lot of friends who are nurses and they have to try and manage, how do I manage my sleep and my eating so that then I can function for my kids or for my family? Like that is one of the hardest things to do is shift work and maintain a great, relationship with food, nutrition, sleep, because it's all connected. So then you've got other people that might want to look a certain way. They might have to maintain a certain way they look. And it's okay to want to look good. It's fine. Like I think now this is where we talked about that body positivity and versus health. Like you want to love yourself and get in your bathers with, and go for a swim because you love yourself and who cares what you look like because we're all going to look different. But then you've also, it's okay as well on the other side of that with that whole body positivity movement where they're saying, who cares what you look like, go get them, tiger. But if you don't feel good, you don't want to do that. So it's like, you have to decide and it's okay if how you look is part of that. It's fine. And you want to look sexy and feel confident or fit into these beautiful clothes. Like it's your life and that's fine as well. So I think for me, it's like, what chapter are you in? So I guess everyone listening would just really identify, like, where am I at? Do I need to be able to do things physically for work? Like you're a hairdresser. You need a level of physical kind of energy to be able to stand up and do that. I mean, I guess, so it's really thinking about you and where you're at right now and just ditching whatever you've done and whatever kind of mindset you've had in the past and being like, and so then your goals and your why right now is all related to what you want to do. So I don't know, do you know what health chapter you're in, I guess, with your kids are a bit older than mine?
Yeah, exactly. And we actually cover our health chapter in the program. So the girls will be able to dive deep on that. But I think it's such an important thing because like you said a minute ago, I'm going to touch on a couple of things you said. about the beach and how your kids want you to do all of that sort of thing. My kids are older now, and we still go to the beach, we still muck around and do all those things. But I look at my life when they were little, and I spent so much time watching it from the sidelines. And the stupid part is, when I look back at my photos, there was nothing wrong with my body then. So I want women to really be aware of what they're missing out on because of what they're holding themselves back on. And you said it so beautifully when you said you want to be involved in the joy and you want to be there for those experiences and those memories and things like that. So I think there's a part of like getting out of your own head on that critical thinking and getting more into the space of understanding your chapter and whether you're going to show up fully in life to enjoy that and embrace all the parts of it, and just really live like full ass life, because I think that's what it all comes down to. I love how you said that it's okay to want to look good, because this is where I know with my message, there's a really funny vibe around body positivity that also means that you know, because we promote that you can love yourself at whatever stage and, you know, embrace the skin that you're in. And whilst all those things are fully backed by me and they're amazing and all that sort of stuff, the other side is that you've got to feel great and the way that you want to feel. And so there's a combination sometimes of still wanting to lose a little bit of weight so that you feel great in your clothes, or that you feel amazing when you walk down the beach, or whatever it might be. So just because you love yourself doesn't mean you need to let yourself go. Just because you've let yourself go doesn't mean you can't love yourself. But I think when you, like with what you're talking about, with honing in on your why, it's combining that whole journey of being body confident, but honoring your health and really dialing in on how we want to sleep and eat and feel and all of the things.
Totally. And it's such a fine line, because body positivity as well, to me, is a lot about, you can't, like, it's not judging other people for their body.
Yes.
So for example, if you and I go to the beach and you're fine to get in your bathers, get out with the kids, have a swim, you're loving yourself sick, 9 out of 10 times, I'm not judging you. Like, people are judging themselves.
That's right.
Like, no one else is really sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe she's in her bathers.
Yes.
She's got cellulite. Or like, no one's really doing that. We just think they are, because we're just judging ourselves, because there is nothing you can ever do to be the same body shape or size or look the same as someone else. Whether it's getting rid of stretch marks, saggy skin, all the things that people are self-conscious about. Like, at the end of the day, no matter how much, if you need to lose weight or whatever it is, or you need to put on weight or whatever, your shape is a lot determined by your genetics. And then obviously your weight can go up and down, but we're just not the same. So I feel like the body positivity movement's amazing for just, we are all different shapes and sizes. And how about some clothing brands make some decent sizes in, like, size 14 and 16 for women, who, because we know the average size of women is that. However, a lot of those people that are promoting, that, are they feeling terrible about themselves? Are they bloated? Are they in chronic pain? Are they just having terrible problems with their menstrual cycles, with their hormones? Because, women have issues. Are they perimenopausal, menopausal? Like, what's going on with you right now? And how do you feel? Are you in chronic pain with inflammation? There's no good worrying about body positivity if you just feel shocking.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter what size you are. There's plenty of very, very thin people who feel terrible, and they get shamed as well, because everyone's often saying to them, well, you don't have to worry about it. What do you care? And it's like, well, how would you know what I'm going through? I'm going through my own struggles. So I feel like there's no cheap way to focus on your health. And it is okay to do a reset. It is okay to, follow a a plan that makes sense for you, eating well. And that's really what I wanted to kind of come back to, is that after listening to Mark's program and the PFC, which is the protein, fat and carb in every meal, which I'll go into, I just thought, I can do that and my kids can eat that way. And that is going to, once I do that for a while, I've got that in my mind, I've got that education, I know how to plan a meal. And then who cares what happens if you have a night off or this, that, or the other? I'm never on a diet because I've just got in my mind that I know what to do going forward. And so life happens, stress happens. Last night I didn't get very much sleep. I had a stressful night, and I feel tired today. And my nutrition, it's hard to do the right things. I want extra coffee. Shit happens in your life all the time to people, whether it's little things or big things. And so it's like, at what point are you going to just do something for yourself to feel better for you? And I think that's really where this whole kind of thing started, with me just sharing with other women about what I was doing and just to create connection and community, because we are all facing the same thing, no matter what you see on Instagram, and how, like, my life looks pretty perfect on Instagram too. And it's not. Like, women struggle with different stuff. They do all the time. So yeah, I think your health chapter and knowing your why, and just ditching whatever your why was 10 years ago, because it's not 10 years ago, it's now. I don't know if is that a bit harsh?
No, no, it's perfect, because I think so many women do that. I want to get back to, I want to, it's like we've done something in the past and we want to get to that. But the truth would be that you've had an extra couple of kids, or you've changed jobs, or the whole structure of your life is different now than what it was then. So it's not about getting back to a certain part of you, because you're never going backwards. We're always going forward. And so this is about empowering women to take on their health journey, and really understand that mental shift from understanding why, knowing how we want to feel, and then being able to use the tools so that we can show up in life that way.
Absolutely. And I just think you can have body positivity and you can feel good at the same time, but it takes work. And there's a lot of habits and there's a lot of negative self-talk, and there's just so much that's happened in the past to get you to this point that, it just takes work, and it just takes some effort to really know why you want to feel good and to put some of those steps in place. And it's not easy. And so, if someone says, oh, do this and you can lose 5 kilos, like, how many times have you looked back at a photo of yourself when you were like, and now you're like, oh, how good did I look then? But at the time you thought you were looking shocking. Like, that happens to everyone all the time. And you think, if only I knew then what I know now, I would have just appreciated that I was, looking fine back then.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think on that note too, like, when we're trying to change, I was having this conversation with a girlfriend of mine, when we're wanting to make some changes to our body, instead of living in the past and also honing in on lack, because when we go for dieting, we're, lacking in our body image because we want to get to that. We then start restricting, and we almost, in a sense, punish ourselves through restriction of food or increasing exercise, all those things, which I know that there is a space for. But the difference when you move forward with actually achieving your health goals is when you look at it from a form of, like, I look at eating well and prioritizing my sleep and self-care and that sort of thing as actual self-love. So, when I'm busy and I'm tired and I'm grabbing the snacky, shitty food and I'm coming home to have a bottle of wine, there's a time and place for all those things. But in the long run, that's not really me being loving to myself, because I know that at the end of the day, if I'm not sleeping right and I'm fueling my body with crappy stuff, it's going to impact the way that I feel and the way that I show up. So if I want to actually honor self-love and self-care, the way that we treat our body, the food that we put into it, and the way that we move it all contributes to that, doesn't it? So instead of like looking at food from a lack and restriction and punishment perspective, I love the way that we can move forward with that now, with like more of like, I'm actually looking after myself. This is how I want to feel. So this is how I'm going to nourish my body.
Totally. And this time of the year, you know, everyone is getting marketed, you know, how to feel better, because this is the key time that everyone's either been on holidays, and they are just, and that's what the body positivity movement, they get so annoyed, and quite rightly so, because women are vulnerable. And so they're like, you're preying upon women. But on the flip side of that is that, you know, that is diet culture as well, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So, and anyone can argue that whatever you're doing is a diet, or that's part of it as well. So you can just get, it just gets really messy, and, you know, it's just a bit too hard. So I think I'm just your everyday person, like mom and woman. So same as you. And we know the struggles ourselves. We're not trying to be, you know, some influencer of people to do this or do that. It's like this is just what we struggle with, and we know that other women do too. So let's just talk about it. Let's just share what's working. So I'll just share my screen as well here. But I just wanted to have a look here. Sorry about my PowerPoint. Quickly. I'm a tech wizard, as you know, Carla.
Another reason why I love you, Keels.
Yeah, like just keeping it real, you know. This is like the person who rings up their husband to ask how to do something on Excel. So so I guess really I just want to share a couple of things, which as to what I do. I've got a Facebook group called The Zen Life, which is just literally, I don't know, I think it's nearly 500 women just sharing the program that I follow, but also just stuff about life, and I'll share this chat and just stuff to just connect and have community, because it can feel a bit lonely sometimes, especially right now in the world. But this slide, I kind of like it, because it's like the whole thing is just, what do you want right now? What is your why? What health chapter are you in? And then you have to just find a plan, and you have to find a way to kind of incorporate and keep your life balanced. And I know I hate that word, because who has a balanced life? I don't know really what that means, but how do you fit, like if you're going to make yourself a priority, how do you fit some of these things in? Like, where is your health as a priority? A lot of women put their kids above themselves and their health. But if something happens to you, and Mike McDonald said that to me, if you go down, Keely, or you're sick and you're unhappy and you're whatever, who's going to do anything with the kids? Who's going to look after the kids? Who's going to provide for the kids? So like, what are you doing for yourself? You matter. And so I think it's just a matter of, and then obviously we've got people who work full time. So you're looking at trying to balance your quadrant, whether health, you want to have a good relationship with, whether that's with family, your partner, then you've got your work, like, and so this is like, you look at this and you think, how do people have it all? And I think the answer is they don't. But the biggest part of it is you have to know what you want right now, and then you can just focus on a couple of things at a time. So that might be only focusing on your food for a month or two, and you just pick one, and then you can just slowly build upon that. It's really the only way, because if you try and fix everything at the same time, you're just going to come unstuck. So I would be 100% looking that if you're wanting to make a change with your health, looking straight away just at sleep, stress, and nutrition. They would be my number one things. Sleep is massive. And we know a lot of people struggle with sleep. And if you've got little kids, I know that's kind of almost unavoidable. But also, and managing stress. Like I said yesterday, I had a really stressful day, and it's a struggle. And your stresses are valid. Everyone's going through their own shit, really. It doesn't matter that it might not be as big as someone else's. You're feeling stressed for a reason, which is going to affect your body. And then you've got like your nutrition. So I think it's everyone kind of identifying their why. But the biggest thing that we know is that you can do anything that you want to lose 5 kilos. Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, you can find anything, starve yourself. What happens is usually people cut out.
Can I interrupt you for 2 seconds? Can you go back to that slide before you jump into why diets fail? Because I just want to say, this is why Keely is here, because it's not, I mean, we're going to get into the food and we're going to look at why diets fail and stuff like that. But this particular slide is where I really want to encourage you to just like screenshot it and dive into this for a moment, because we've spoken about your why. And when you dial in on your why and you really understand it, this little chart to me makes so much sense, because we know how we want to feel, and we know, you know, why we want to do that. And ultimately, we want to show up with great health, all the bottom things. We want to have that awesome lifestyle. We need our body to be able to carry us through all of that. If we want to be switched on at work and nail our shifts and do whatever we want to do, then that's great. And then our relationships. So if we feel great within ourselves, we not only like empower our children with wonderful ways, but also I found the better I felt about my body, the better my relationship was with my husband. You know, the less I judged myself, the less I just judged other people. So we kind of got like our why and what we want to do, and then the bottom is like the flow on effect of all of those things. But so many people forget the importance of that middle section, and that is, if we want to get to that great stuff at the bottom, we need to have a look at our sleep and our stress and our nutrition and, you know, the water supplements and exercise there. That's the stuff that when we focus on improvement in those areas will flow through to our great health, our improved lifestyle, our better relationships, and our success in life. So anyway, thank you, Keely. Now you can keep going to why diets fail.
Totally. But these, in whether, you know, develop your body confidence plan, whether, you know, sleep, stress, exercise, all of those things, you just go up and down in your life. You're never going to have all of those things nailed at the same time. No. And that's totally fine. Like, sometimes you just think, oh, like, this is just literally impossible. Have you seen all those memes where it's like, how am I supposed to eat healthy, exercise, have a social life, you know, do all these things? And it's kind of like, wow, how do people actually fit all this stuff in? So I think it's just about knowing what the points are and just doing actionable small steps, 1% improvements each day to, you know, to get to a level where you're feeling like, you know, you are feeling good and things are good, but life's never going to be perfect. Never. Sorry, everyone.
You can use this chart from the back up as well. You know, if you look at, if your health isn't great and your inflammation's up, you're feeling like shit, whatever it is, you can work backwards. So, okay, well, I don't feel real great right now. So what's my habits like with my sleep or with my stress or with my nutrition? And then going up to the top tier, well, am I living in alignment with my why and how I want to feel? Because it's when we're living out of alignment with the way all that connects together that we then feel terrible and things aren't going the way we want it. So you can work up and down with that. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think everyone kind of knows how this works. And we've, you know, I don't know, who's a yo-yo dieter and who's tried things or whatever in the past. But it's literally, most people are going to just cut, restrict, blood sugar dropping. You're going to then be starving. I used to do this unintentionally with little babies, is that I would, when I had babies, I'd be so tired that I'd just restrict and wouldn't eat all morning. Not because when you're so tired as well, it suppresses your hunger. So, and until a point that your blood sugar is so low that then you are ravenous for carbohydrates, hunger, cravings, you're like, you know, you just give me all the things. You're going through the drive-through at certain establishments, and then you're just overeating, all the things, and then your blood sugar spiking and you're storing fat, and it's just like a constant cycle. And you're like, oh, but I didn't really eat that much. I didn't even eat till 2 p.m. or, you know, how can I possibly be feeling like this or putting on weight or all those kinds of things as well. So I think a lot of people know that it's just a bit of a vicious cycle. But with the PFC Every 3 program, it's really simple. It's not like revolutionary where someone's created this new thing. It's just put, for me, I think it was just put in kind of layman's terms. And I just went, how do I not know this basic information? Like, no one ever taught me how to balance my plate or how to just plan a meal. And I listen to a lot of nutritionists talk about this, and pretty much all of them are talking about the same thing. It's choose a protein that you like. Doesn't matter if you're plant-based, animal-based, whatever. You choose a protein, and in our program, you just have a list of proteins, a list of fats, and a list of carbohydrates, all the macronutrients, and you just choose the protein you like, and you just build your meal around it. You choose some carbohydrates that you like, and then you choose a little bit of fat that you like. And then there's a lot of different veg and things that are called free foods, and you just bulk out your plate with that. So you're not calorie counting, macro counting, you're not doing anything extreme, you're not eating foods that you don't like. You're literally just balancing your plate, and your kids can eat this way too. You're probably already kind of eating this way. But the number one thing it does, it just makes you think about what's my protein intake, because we know that if we balance our protein out throughout the day as well, we are going to be more sustained, and we're going to keep our blood sugar levels stable. So that's the whole idea of it, is that you might eat your breakfast in the morning within an hour of when you wake up, then you have a mid-morning snack, then you have your lunch, then you have a mid-afternoon snack, and then you have your dinner. So throughout the day, each of those 3 meals and your snacks, you're creating just a balance of proteins, fats, and carbs that you choose, that you like throughout the day. And you can eat out at a cafe. You can, once you know what the proteins are, the fats are, and the carbs are that you like, you can just live your life. You're not, no one's holding you back. It's not, oh, I can't have that tonight, or mum's not having dinner tonight. Sorry, kids. Or there's none of that. It's just that you have to tweak where you're at with what your goals are. And maybe you're not eating, all the big pasta or whatever they're having, but you're just having zucchini pasta with your bolognese sauce. So you're just tweaking it so that you can get to where you want to go with your goals. So the whole program, is based on blood sugar stabilization, balancing out our meals throughout the day, nothing crazy. And what we're going to do is, if you've got stored fat there, if you're balancing your blood sugar levels and making the good choices with your proteins, fats, and carbs, then you will release stored fat, bloat, inflammation, and maintain a high level of energy. So I think that's really the nuts and bolts of the program. And really, you can do things. There's recipes in my group. There's a whole plan. There's recipes that just everyday people like myself have created, and you can just follow it to suit however it is that you, whatever it is that you like to eat. There's a lot of plant-based people now, and it's just simple, everyday stuff that's not a fad, that if I fall off the wagon, it doesn't matter. Like, that's my life. I just want to enjoy myself. And then the next day, I just know in my head now, I have education on how to build a meal. And if I want to rein it in, because I do feel a bit bloated after, having a few weeks off, that's okay. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not allowed to rein it in, because you are. Like, your health matters and how you feel matters. And I think in the past 2 years, everyone has realized more than ever that you can't buy your health, and what state you're in right now, it matters to you. And it matters to what sicknesses and illnesses and things that you might get. We know that. So I just think there's got to be a line in the sand where someone says, I don't feel good. This is what I want to be able to do right now. I have to make a change, and I want to do it sustainably. And I know it won't happen in, a week. So I think, is that kind of on your page, Carla? Like, I just love this slide as well, because you don't have to be like, I'm doing keto, or I'm low. Like, you don't have to identify as anything. You just are who you are, and you eat nourishing food, how you like to eat. Just own it.
Yes, so much so. And for everyone that's watching this recording, what I was trying to look for then was which week in the Think Feel You program dives a bit deeper into exactly what Keely has just shared in those 2 slides. So if you're watching back, week 5, which is food and body intelligence, covers a little bit more about that in the deeper dive of, stabilizing your blood sugar and protecting your muscle and releasing your fat and all of those things, balancing out your hormones with the food and stuff like that. So why I wanted Keely to touch on that is because you've got in the back end of our members area the basis and the principle of everything that Keely's talking about. But I'm not a health coach. Keely will say she's not a health coach either, but she is a mum empowering women to eat in PFC and encourage people along the way to choose their health and all of that sort of thing. So if anyone that's watching this recording and resonates with the message within week 5 of the program and with what Keely's saying right now, then Keely's got a free group called the Zen Life, which we'll link to after. But I just wanted to be able to give you that extra guidance and extra tool, being Keely, and what she shares, because it's one thing to talk about this information, and hopefully by listening to what Keely and I are saying, you'll be like, yeah, I'm ready to not do paleo, whatever all those things were, and just eat food and just embrace that as a health journey, lifestyle, whatever it might be for you. But I just wanted to give you women that are listening back to this somewhere to go from here. Like, we often pique our interest and we're like, yeah, that resonates with me, and we really like the sound of that, but then don't know where to go to take the next step. So if that's you, Keely is going to be more than welcome, more than happy to welcome you, I think, into her free group, where you can dive a bit deeper into the food side of all of that as we go along, because I think it's really important to know and share and embrace all of that. What do you think, Keels?
Absolutely. I would love anyone who wants to come in and join the Zen Life, and just, there's a number of people in there who are just looking and, having a look at recipes. They look at the program, and it's just like, it's a place of community, because the biggest thing that really people need is an accountability partner, or, and that's why people pay a lot of money for coaches and personal trainers. And I'm like that. I need someone to kind of help make me accountable. And I need a personal trainer, else I'm a bit lazy. And I can identify that I know that. And that's what I want. So I'd love you to come into the Zen Life. There's heaps of recipes. You can get a real understanding of the program, and just, it might help you to make 1 or 2 changes if you want to with where you're at. And there's no pressure. It's really up to you. And I think that's the real kind of unfortunate thing for some people, is that they want it to be a bit easier, but I think you just have to make a step forward and go, I just want to put myself first. I want to feel better. I want more energy. I've been up and down. It's never going to look in a straight line. It's just going to be wobbly, but that is the life, and that's how our lives are. So yeah, I'm very honest. I'm not going to make out that I'm anything that I'm not. It's just how it is. And it's just really like a sharing of my own and women like our journey. So yeah, I think, and on the subject of body positivity, I just think that's just going to be an ongoing thing for women who, and for me now, I think it's really important. And I know you feel this too, is I don't want to put my issues onto my kids about, I'm never looking in the mirror in front of my kids and saying negative things about my body, even if I'm thinking them myself, which I am. It's really important to me that stops with me, and that I'm not giving my kids a complex. I've got 2 daughters and a son. And so there's a level of, what do you want for yourself? And then how are you role modeling? And for me, I just want to role model, like, all my kids know what a protein, fat, and a carb is. They know what PFC means, and they're 6, 8, and 10, because it's important. Educating yourself and your children is important, because you don't want them to go through the same struggles going forward. And it's just good to have open and honest conversations, and all while being positive and praising them, and just loving them. Because at the moment, my girls have heard the word fat at school, and they don't really get it, but we're talking about that. And you know, kids are learning things. There's social media now. Let's not even talk about how you feel about yourself if you see people on social media. I laughed at Carla because she put a photo of me up to do the promotion for this. And I'm like, oh, if only I looked that good. Because I had my makeup done. And here we go. You're just judging yourself again. And, you know, but we want, you know, just to create that, like that our bodies are amazing and that we just nourish them with good food and we just do things together. And we don't let it consume us. Like it's so consuming.
That's right.
Isn't it?
And that's such a good point, because I think it's so valuable to connect with people, tooting our horns, but to connect with people like Keely and I, who there is, you know, some shiny Instagram, Facebooky stuff. But when you actually have these communities where you get to connect on a real basis and you get to hear the honest truth and those raw conversations, and we share the journey and we, you know, honest with the fact that there's ups and downs, then I think it allows us as women to stop getting distracted by all those shiny objects and thinking things are easy and going from one thing to another, and just actually going, everybody has stages of their life where they're nailing stuff. And, you know, if you want to see improvements in certain areas of your life, you are so much more likely to see those improvements if you align with people that are talking and living that journey. So it's not just about the shiny stuff you see on socials. It's actually the connection between real women, real conversations, and real life stuff that when we feel something that's benefited our life, it's natural we want to share it with other people because we've seen the flow-on effect. And as Keely said, neither one of us really ever portrays that we're experts and we know everything, but we're just women in the trenches with you, having a crack and sharing what we know makes a difference.
Absolutely. And I love that, because I think I don't like the term health coach, or because I feel like that means that I have to just have my shit together all the time if I'm a health coach. And I'm like, I don't. I'm just managing it the same as you and every other person. And yeah, I've got education and I've got knowledge and I've done, you know, certifications and stuff, but I just hate that. It's just real talk between women. Look, this has worked for me. This makes sense to me. Scientifically, family wise, it's just sensible. It's not a fad. You know, what, you know, and then I talk about, you know, if I use this protein shake or what, like all the stuff that matters, that because it helps me with my life. And I know I need a few hacks to get through because it's busy. The modern day woman is like absolutely pulled in a million directions. And, you know, it'd be great if we just all had a chef, wouldn't it? To just make us all of our balanced meals and just drop them off at the door.
Love it.
And pack the school lunch boxes. Yeah. But yeah, so it's just keeping it real. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that you had me on just to chat with your beautiful community. And I'm going to share this with my community too.
Being beautiful.
And yeah.
So really quick before you go, as I said, girls that are watching, if anyone wants to dive deep on this, week 5 in the program will give you a little bit more extra on the science and things behind it. But of course, we've spoken about other topics here that's within the program with body image, our balance in life, judgment, our ego, even being a role model, our body types, those sorts of things. So there's so much that if it's piqued your interest, you can go back and check in on certain subjects, reach out to me if you need help finding them. I want to share quickly one of my top hacks that I've learned through Keely. And then Keely, while I'm sharing that, this is like full hot seating you, but I want you to share your top 3 either hacks or tips in relation to health, and then we will wrap up the session. So my top tip that I learned in relation to what Keely speaks about with food is that I would often, like I was terrible with eating regularly, which that changed through through this program. And now can be fallen off the track, but I'm good at that now. But my biggest thing was that when I would go out for dinner, if I hadn't eaten for, if I'd accidentally missed lunch that day or something like that, I would be like, well, I'm going out for dinner tonight, so I'll just wait, because I'm going to eat more essentially when I go out for dinner. But understanding how our body works from that cellular level and how food has its interpretation on us, I will now have a protein shake before I go out for dinner, because I know that then will stabilize my blood sugar. It fills me up just enough that it takes that edge off, that when I'm ordering, I don't want to order 10 things on the menu and already dream about dessert. It just means that when I get out for dinner and I look at that menu, I'm actually got more chance of making a decent food choice if I've had that protein shake and I'm not starving when I arrive at the restaurant. So that's probably my awesome food tip. And I think for a lot of women that might be like, what, you're going to have something to eat essentially before you go out for dinner? But it helps when you're there and you've got all these delicious food choices to somewhat stay more on track with a health goal, if that's the phase that I'm in. So that's my top tip. So Keels, what's your 3 best pieces of advice that you can leave us as your parting gift?
Put me on the spot here.
I know, sorry.
But, it's funny because the protein shake thing, everyone's like, oh, you don't need a protein shake. And it's like, yeah, you don't actually. You can just balance your blood sugars with whole foods, and let's just all live a lovely life where we're preparing beautiful meals for 5 times a day and this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden after 3 days, everyone says, oh my God, I'm so busy. I can't handle the meal prep. What's something I can just quickly grab? I've got to go to a kid's birthday party at such and such place, and that, the food there is going to be terrible. Or you've got to go out for dinner and you're trying to stay on track and feel good. So my number one, tip is to have a grab and go snack, or have something as your go-to convenient snack. Is it a protein bar? Is it a protein shake? Is it something that what have you got that if you're going to fall off the rails because you're not organized, what can you just grab quickly? Yeah. That is a game changer. And I don't know anyone who's not busy or doesn't get caught out. And that's actually an amazing one. A lot of shift workers, that's a game changer for them because they don't have much time, especially health workers and stuff, and they've just got to quickly jam something in. So, but my top tip is about build your meal around protein, and you need to eat within an hour of when you wake up in the morning. So it's fine to work out first if you want to do that, and then just eat. Build your meals around protein. And then, so look at the protein lists. If you come into the Zen Life, there's a group of proteins, fats and carbs. You look at it and you go, these are the ones I like, and just balance your protein out throughout the day. And that's going to help to keep you full, your blood sugar levels stable, and that's going to help you if you want to release any stored fat or just to have energy. So that's a big tip that changed the game for me. I never even thought of that. I never worried about that. And then, the other one is try and just do something, whether it's nearly every day. So if it's a walk, you don't have to be doing anything too crazy, but just do some kind of movement a day, even if it's half an hour, if it's a walk, if it's some stretching, just join a club, join a facility, just join something, be a part of something and be a part of a community that just helps you to move. And I think the other top tip is that if you have a blowout or you eat a block of chocolate or you go out one night or whatever, just immediately the next day, get back on track. Don't learn to just not overthink it, not beat yourself up, get over yourself and say, okay, breakfast, I'm back. Don't think about it. It is your life. You only get one life, stop being in your own head, but know what to do to get back onto track. So that's I don't know if has that been helpful?
I love it. That's so perfect. And I love that saying that one bad meal isn't going to stuff up your journey,
No.
just the same way as one salad isn't going to make a huge amount of difference,
Unfortunately. Unfortunately, it works both ways, is that, if you do this for 5 minutes, you might not see results.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I love that move, chat.
Just do something. Yeah.
Move like you love yourself. So yeah. We've got this.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Keely, for joining us here in this group. You are such a superstar. I will link in the download section how you can find Keely's group, so that if anyone wants to connect with her, that is where you jump through to. So big love. Thank you so much, gorgeous. And I hope everyone enjoys this recording.